Imagine you own a business and your own staff is actively working to talk your customers out of spending money.
Yeah, it sounds crazy.
Right. But it's this psychological phenomenon called selling from your own pocket.
Yeah.
Essentially, your team members become, budget bodyguards for the consumer.
Budget bodyguard.
Yeah. Like, if a staff member looks at your premium wash and fold service and thinks, I would never personally pay $50 for that, they actually subconsciously project their own financial anxiety right onto the customer.
They do. They hesitate.
Exactly. They hesitate, they offer unnecessary discounts, or they actively downplay your premium options. And without even realizing it, they can completely ruin a business's premium brand status.
And before we go any further, it is crucial to understand exactly why this matters to you. Because whether you're leading a Fortune 500 company or just, running a local retail shop, your team's mindset is the absolute ceiling on your growth. Moving your team from a scarcity mindset, where they're trying to protect the customer's money, to an abundance mindset, where their only goal is to solve the customer's problem. I mean, that is the ultimate secret to scaling. If you can't get your team to sell the actual value of your service, your business will just never break out of that daily grind.
Which is why we're here. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are exploring a masterclass in business systemization, artificial intelligence automation, and psychological training. And it's all hiding in this incredibly unexpected industry.
The commercial vended laundry business.
Right. We are unpacking this fascinating stack of internal operational blueprints, AI training documents, and psychological manuals. These were all created by Nicholas J. Gomez.
The lead strategist.
Yeah, widely known as the Precision Laundry Architect. He created these for his platform AI4Laundromats.org. And our mission today is to explore exactly how adopting this precision architecture can transition literally any operation from a manual grind into a system of just pure data-backed decisions.
It's total paradigm shift.
It really is. Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with this wild concept of the budget bodyguard. Because, on the surface, staff empathy sounds like a great thing right now.
Of course it does.
As a consumer, I've certainly been in a store where a cashier leans in and whispers, hey, if you wait until tomorrow, this goes on sale. I love it. But these sources point out a massive conflict between that kind of misplaced empathy and actual business professionalism.
Exactly. Because empathy is a wonderful human trait, obviously. But in a business context, misplaced empathy is fundamentally destructive to the architecture of the operation.
How so?
Well, the core shift required here is understanding the value-price disconnect. Let's look at a $100 laundry bill. To an employee making an hourly wage, dropping $100 on laundry feels like an extravagant luxury.
Right. They look at the soap in the water and think, I could do this at home for $3.
Exactly. But to a busy lawyer or a parent juggling 3 kids and 2 jobs, that $100 is not a luxury. It is a necessary utility. The customer walking through those doors isn't buying soap and water. They're buying time. They're buying convenience. They're buying a weekend that isn't spent staring at a tumbling dryer.
That makes a lot of sense. And the sources actually highlight this incredibly specific anecdote that just perfectly illustrates the danger of a staff member not understanding that disconnect.
Oh, the stain treatment story.
Yes. So there was this scenario where an employee was dealing with a customer's favorite shirt, and it had a really tough stain on it. Now, the business explicitly offers a premium stain treatment service,
Right.
but the staff member chose not to offer it. And why? Because they felt it was, quote, too expensive to add to the bill. They were trying to be the budget bodyguard.
Yeah, projecting their own wallet onto the customer.
Exactly. Trying to do them a favor by saving them a few bucks.
Which is the ultimate irony of the scarcity mindset. In an effort to help, the staff member completely failed the customer. The customer got their favorite shirt back, the stain was still there, and they were absolutely devastated.
Yeah.
And this is what we want you, the listener, to reflect on right now in your own work. Helping a customer isn't about saving them $5. It's about giving them the exact result they need to make their life easier.
Right.
Selling the business value means you're focusing on the 3 hours that customer gets back to spend with their family, not the price tag on the register. When staff operate in the scarcity mindset, they focus on what's being lost, the money. When they operate in an abundance mindset, they focus on what's being gained, the lifestyle and the time.
And the sources map this out so clearly. They have this comparison table that contrasts the two approaches. When you sell from your own pocket, your tone as an employee is apologetic, your primary goal is saving the customer money, and the final outcome is consistently low margins and a cheap brand perception.
Which nobody wants.
Right. But when you flip that, when you sell the business value, your tone becomes confident. Your goal shifts to providing the absolute best result possible, and the outcome is high customer retention and a premium brand status. I mean, if your team treats your service like an expensive burden, the customer is inevitably going to start seeing it that way too.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you can't just tell your staff to change their mindset. Mindset is abstract.
Yeah, you can't just mandate it.
Exactly. You have to build an environment, an architecture that reinforces this professional standard at every single touch point. Psychology is only the first step in this process. You have to back it up with hard data, rigorous testing, and systems that just don't rely on human intuition.
Which brings us to the operational side of things. We're moving from the psychology of the staff to the hard data of the facility. Because how do you actually implement these grand theories without just guessing?
You test them in the lab.
Right. According to the blueprints, the documents constantly refer to a facility called Super Kleen Laundry, located in Lake City, Michigan. It is a real-world testing ground. But why there? What makes Lake City, Michigan the ideal place to test artificial intelligence and precision architecture?
It really comes down to market isolation. Super Kleen Laundry isn't just a business. It operates as a living lab. It's located in a rural or semi-rural market where the nearest competitor is more than 15 miles away.
Wow, 15 miles.
Yeah, and from a scientific and data collection standpoint, that isolation is brilliant. It serves as the perfect, untainted testing ground for high-tech, professionally managed systems. Because they aren't constantly fighting a reactive price war with a competitor across the street, they can focus entirely on optimizing their internal architecture and running controlled scenarios.
And the terminology Gomez uses for the work they do in the lab is highly specific. He's actively moving owners away from what he calls manual grit.
Oh, manual grit is the worst.
Oh, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's the exhausting, labor-heavy way of running a business. It's manual sweeping, it's reactive repairs when a machine breaks down, it's making pricing decisions based on a gut feeling.
Just putting out fires constantly.
Exactly. So instead of grit, he focuses on optimizing what he calls magic variables. But these aren't just arbitrary changes, right?
Yeah, not.
Yeah.
Magic variables are precise, high-impact tweaks that drastically affect the profitability of the business at scale. We're talking about mapping out highly specific water temperature curves to save on heating costs without compromising wash quality.
Right.
We're talking about optimizing chemical injection ratios down to the milliliter. He even uses a fascinating concept called curve equivalent adjustments in cycle times.
Okay, I love this analogy, but let's break it down for everyone. In woodworking, the kerf is the thickness of the saw blade. It represents the tiny amount of wood that's turned into sawdust and lost during a cut. But what does a kerf look like inside a commercial laundromat?
Well, in this business context, a kerf equivalent adjustment is finding the invisible sawdust in the operational process.
Give me an example.
Sure. For example, maybe a specific wash cycle takes 45 seconds longer to drain than the manufacturer's specifications say it should due to subtle water pressure issues. Or maybe a chemical pump is dispensing 1/8 of an ounce too much detergent per load.
And on a single load of laundry, that kerf is entirely invisible to the naked eye.
Exactly. But across 10,000 machine turns in a month, that tiny microscopic gap between your labor costs and your automated profit is where thousands of dollars of margin simply bleed out. Precision architecture is about identifying and eliminating that kerf.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because you obviously cannot manage those magic variables or fix that kerf if you don't even know they're happening.
Right.
You can't fix a 45-second drain delay with manual grit. That is where another crucial term comes into play: system latency.
Precisely. System latency is the exact time delay between a problem occurring on the facility floor and the management system actually detecting it, documenting it, and providing a solution.
So in a traditional business running on manual grit, the system latency might be weeks.
Or months. A valve leaks behind a machine, nobody sweeping the floor notices it, and the owner only finds out when a massive water bill arrives a month later. By then, the profit is already gone. In a precision architecture, the goal is to drive that system latency down to absolute zero.
So how do they measure if this architecture is actually working? They don't just look at the monthly P&L statement. They use a highly granular metric called efficiency per cycle, or EPC.
The holy grail metric.
Yeah, this is positioned as the ultimate metric of the facility's health. It calculates the exact utility cost, the water, the gas, the electricity of a single machine turn against the specific revenue that turn generates. They aren't looking at the macro bill, they're looking at the micro cost of one person doing one load of laundry in one specific machine.
And to protect that EPC metric, they utilize what they call an unproductive consumption or cost filter.
This is where the AI comes in, right?
This is where the AI becomes critical. They use artificial intelligence to sift through mountains of raw, real-time utility data to find leakage. They're looking for water or gas usage that happens without a corresponding paid machine cycle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, imagine the AI sees the main water meter spinning, but the point of sale system doesn't show a single washer currently running a paid cycle. The system instantly flags the unproductive consumption. It doesn't wait for the monthly bill. It is data-backed decision-making in its absolute purest form.
But to pull all this off, to track the latency, to calculate the EPC, to run the cost filters, you need serious infrastructure. You can't calculate EPC on a notepad. Looking at the documents detailing the physical setup at Super Kleen, it's a massive hardware foundation, but it's very deliberate. For instance, they have these 4 standard 18-pound pop loaders. Why keep small, standard machines in a commercial facility focused on massive scale?
That is a great observation. Those specific 18-pound tub loaders aren't there for heavy commercial accounts. They function as the control group.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the documents refer to them as being used for washer library scenarios. They use these standardized machines to test variables like chemical effectiveness or temperature curves before rolling those changes out to the larger commercial equipment.
That makes perfect sense. And then they scale up. They have a whole fleet of front loaders ranging from 20-pound capacities all the way up to a massive 80-pound machine.
And for drying, they use Dexter pocket dryers alongside 4 75-pound Speed Queen high-efficiency dryers.
Huge machines.
Massive. And every single piece of this equipment is networked and connected via Spider-Wash credit card readers. It is a highly monitored environment.
That physical machine architecture is impressive, and it obviously provides the raw data, but it's the AI software stack that truly elevates this operation from a standard laundromat into the lab. Because the ultimate goal of this entire system is staggering, a strict limit of only 10 hours per week of owner input.
And those 10 hours are reserved exclusively for strategic growth, running scenarios, and documentation. None of those 10 hours are meant for manual labor.
Okay, let me push back on that for a second. 10 hours a week. To run a high-volume facility with that much heavy commercial machinery and constant customer turnover, how is that practically possible without the place just falling apart?
It is only possible by synthesizing an array of software tools to entirely handle the manual grid. It starts at the front lines with Bella, or Hey Rosie, which is their AI phone receptionist.
Wait, an AI receptionist? If I'm a customer and one of my favorite shirts gets trapped in a machine or coin slot jams, the last thing I want to talk to is a robot. Doesn't that risk alienating the customer base and destroying that premium brand status we just talked about?
It's a valid concern, and it's exactly why this isn't just a generic out-of-the-box voicemail tree that frustrates callers. This AI is trained on their proprietary data. It handles 24/7 customer service seamlessly. Yeah, it answers repetitive questions about machine availability or pricing. It can initiate refunds. It places orders. And crucially, it captures commercial accounts.
So it's actively selling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If a local motel calls at 11 p.m. asking for commercial rates, Bella handles the intake. It's actively executing sales and maintaining customer service while the owner sleeps.
Okay, so the AI handles the communication. What about the operations?
They use Clean Cloud as their point-of-sale system, which is constantly tracking those machine turns and revenue, immediately feeding that data to calculate the EPC metric. They use HomeWaste for all HR and payroll scheduling for the physical staff they do have. They've even repurposed standard Alexa devices throughout the facility for instant internal announcements and remote access communication.
What's fascinating here is how they leverage standard, widely available tools by combining them into a rigid operational blueprint. Like, they use Google Business Workspace for the backbone, but they use Google Keep specifically as the architect's task list.
And for synthesizing all this data,
Yeah.
they use Google's Notebook LM as their creative lab. This is where they run their weekly AI data scenarios. They feed the utility data and customer interactions from the floor into the AI to generate new strategies. They are taking off-the-shelf software and stacking it into a highly proprietary automated management system.
It's brilliant systemization. But Gomez doesn't just program his machines and his software. He takes it a step further. He actually programs his brand's language.
Or linguistic guardrails?
Yes. There's an entire section in these sources dedicated to linguistic guardrails. He recognizes that the words you use internally dictate the reality of your business externally.
They have a document called a core vocabulary. Its entire purpose is to elevate the brand from feeling like a reactive hobbyist to functioning like a professional architect.
Which is a calculated move to attract high-value commercial accounts. If you want a local hotel or a massive restaurant to trust you with their linens, you cannot sound like an amateur running a side hustle.
The psychological shift created by this vocabulary is profound. Let's look at the do's and don'ts list from the document. Instead of saying you're writing a blog post, you issue a technical briefing.
I love that.
Right. Instead of telling your staff you are dealing with stuff in the shop, you say you are managing operational infrastructure.
Exactly. Stuff in the shop sounds like a weekend chore you want to avoid in your garage. Operational infrastructure sounds like a scalable asset that requires professional, data-backed attention.
Precisely. Instead of saying you're getting a new customer, you execute commercial account acquisition.
Nice.
Instead of groaning about looking at the bills, you conduct a utility audit. And instead of trying something out, you execute system implementation.
This raises an important question, and it is something we want you to consider right now, regardless of what industry you are in. What vocabulary are you using in your own life or business?
Great question.
Are your words trapping you in a hobbyist mindset? Are you constantly putting out fires and trying to catch up with your workload? Or are you building a professional architecture? Are you executing audits and implementing systems? The language you use frames the exact way you and your team approach every single problem.
Yeah, it's such a powerful takeaway. The precision laundry architect persona isn't just a clever marketing gimmick. It is an internal filter for the entire operation. It demands that every action, every communication, and every decision meets a rigorous professional standard.
It sets the bar.
It does. To synthesize all of this, moving from gut feel to data-backed decisions isn't just about bolting credit card readers onto your equipment and hoping for the best. It requires a completely holistic architecture.
Right.
It starts with the psychology training your staff out of that budget bodyguard scarcity mindset so they can actually sell the true value of your service without projecting their own financial fears.
And then the tech.
Exactly. It moves into the physical and digital infrastructure, utilizing an AI software stack for constant customer service and deploying real-time data filters to catch unproductive consumption and eliminate system latency. And it is all held together by the language you use, speaking the language of an architect, to maintain a premium brand identity.
And the best part is, Gomez doesn't keep this in a black box. He isn't hoarding the data from Lake City. He is transparently sharing all of these experimental scenarios with the entire industry.
He really is.
He publishes the results from the lab in a highly detailed weekly newsletter called The Lowdown. You can find all the prompt libraries, the operational blueprints, and the case studies over at ai4laundromats.org. And for owners who are busy driving to their facilities or actively managing the floor, he produces specialized technical audio briefings, which are aptly named the Audio Lab.
Brilliant.
So what does this all mean?
It leaves us with a rather challenging thought. We have just looked at a rural laundromat in Lake City, Michigan, a business model that, historically, is the absolute definition of manual, grit-sweeping floors, fixing coin jams, dealing with angry customers, and waiting for the water bill.
The ultimate manual grind.
Right. Yet by implementing precision architecture, AI receptionists, and rigorous data filters, they're moving toward near 100% hands-off management. They are architecting true financial freedom on a strict 10-hour work week.
It's incredible.
So what excuse do the rest of us have for relying on manual grit in our own daily work? What is the system latency in your own life right now? Where are the invisible leaks happening in your time, your budget, or your energy that you aren't detecting for weeks? And more importantly, what tools can you stack today to automate them?
It is time to stop putting out fires and start building your architecture. Thanks for joining us in the Audio Lab for this deep dive.